The theater in Epidaurus was impressive, all right. Great stone seats built into the mountain. It must have seated tens of thousands. Rhea and I climbed to the top row to test the acoustics, and Sandy stood in the center of the stage and recited The Walrus and the Carpenter. We thought we were the only people there, till a group of kids rose up from the seats and began applauding. They drifted off, and Rhea and I climbed down and took the stage. She recited a passage from Antigone in Greek, which made me shiver. I didn't understand more than a few words, but the Greek rolled out in glorious syllables. "Your turn, Polly," she said. Uncle Sandy called down, "Do one of your speeches from As You Like It." "Oh, do," Rhea urged. "We were so sorry we couldn't be there for the performance. Only one performance for all that work." "It was worth it," I said. "Okay, here goes." I stepped to the exact center of the stage where the acoustics were supposed to be perfect. I chose a speech early in the play where Rosalind is about to be banished by Celia's father, who is just about as nasty as Max's father, but Celia stands up to him, defending Rosalind. She reminds him that after he had taken the dukedom and banished Rosalind's father, "I did not then entreat to have her stay. It was your pleasure and your own remorse. I was too young that time to value her, but now I know her. If she be a traitor, why so am I. We still have slept together, and wherever so we went, like Juno's swans, still went coupled and inseparable." Sandy and Rhea applauded, and Rhea said, "That was superb, Polly. If I'm ever in need of a defender, I'll take you." Sandy said, "The Elizabethans understood friendship. This pusillanimous age seems afraid of it. You can have sex with someone without commitment, but not friendship. You were excellent, Paul. Have you thought of acting as a career?" "I've thought of it. Max says I read aloud well, but I doubt if I'd ever have a dream of making it on Broadway, or even at the Dock Street." "You made friendship real again. Did any of the kids misinterpret?" "Of course, the Mulletville girls. Miss Solosky talked about affluence going along with intellectual deprivation. I think she was pretty upset that it was the kids with the affluent backgrounds who made the nastiest cracks. I did not add that the cracks were particularly nasty because of Max, though they never actually mentioned her name. In a world where pleasure rules, people tend to be underdeveloped in every other way. Your Miss Solosky sounds like a good teacher." "She is," I said, though it took me a while to realize it. Let's go on to the sacred precincts," Sandy suggested. "There's a lesson in compassion." "It's sort of a B.C. Lourdes," Rhea explained, "dedicated to the god Aesculapius." "I gave Polly a book about it." Sandy galloped down the high marble stairs as agilely as Zan. When we got to the sacred precincts, we stopped talking. We saw dormitories for sick people, saw the special baths in which they were given healing waters. In the museum, we saw ancient surgical instruments, and Sandy remarked that some of them were like those in Denny's office. When we left the museum, he said, "They knew a lot about psychology, those old Greeks. One of their medicines for healing was comedy. The patients sat just where we were, and on the stage the best actors of the day played comedies, Euripides, and other less well-known playwrights. They were exceedingly bawdy. Shakespeare would have been right at home, and exceedingly funny, and laughter does have healing qualities. Miss Solosky said that Shakespeare was bawdy, but never dirty." "True," Rhea nodded. "The Greeks were way ahead of the present world in many ways. I'm proud of my ancestry." I thought I saw Sandy give her a look, a signal. She went on, "I'm rather tired. I think I'll just sit and rest half an hour. Then it'll be time for lunch. You two go on." "You all right?" Sandy sounded concerned, so maybe it wasn't a signal after all. "I take longer to get over jet lag than you do. I'm fine, and I'll be famished for lunch." "Okay, Paul?" Sandy asked. "Sure." We wandered along the path together. I was glad there weren't many other tourists that morning, because the ancient stones, even the air we breathed, filled me with awe. We stood near the site of the snake pit. "You read the book on Epidaurus I gave you?" Sandy asked. "I finished it last night. A patient couldn't get through the outer gates until all bitterness and self-pity and anger were gone. The belief was that healing wasn't possible until the spirit was cleansed. I think you're better, Polly, but not all the way. Am I right?" I nodded. What are you holding on to? What can't you let go? I turned away from him. He followed me. Zachary said I'd put a hard shell around myself. That's more perspicacious than I'd given him credit for. Hardness doesn't become you, I know. I'm not asking you to forget, Polly, because you're never going to forget. What you have to do is remember with compassion and forgive. My voice trembled. Uncle Sandy, I don't like having a piece of ice stuck in my heart. It hurts. Sit here in the sun, he said, and let it thaw. I'll be back for you in a few minutes. I'm going to see how Ria's doing. He was leaving me for Ria just as Ursula had left me. Stop it, Polyhymnia O'Keefe. That's plain self-pity, self-indulgent pity, none of that. I sat where Sandy had left me, on an uncomfortable stone bench. I closed my eyes, and a vision of the dream from the night before came back to me unbidden. I was in the boat, protecting my baby, and the seagull flew over us. And the seagull was Max. And we'll pause there.